Hey, y'all. Hey, so due to technical difficulties, we had to move the live stream and redo it. We're not gonna rehash old questions, just gonna keep it moving from the questions that we were on. And so I've got Dre and Amina with me right now. We are on the Warriors question. So we gonna have a bunch of questions, gonna get everybody really hot. But okay, so the Warriors picked up DeMarcus Cousins, lost JaVale McGee and Zaza Pachulia. So Andre, them picking up DeMarcus Cousins, was it worth them losing their two not so good big men? Go ahead. Oh, and will the Warriors go have a three-peat, which hasn't been done since the Lakers? Go ahead.
Well, listen, ain't nothing stopping them. Uh, Nothing stopping them in recent times. So I fail to believe that they're gonna start losing now. The dudes is just,
Ain't no stopping us now.
that's the old Sixers theme song, but it should be the Warriors' new theme song. Yeah, shout out to the Warriors, man.
The
Y'all doing y'all
perfect
thing.
song.
Listen, y'all kings and y'all queens and y'all taking over. So listen, let it rain. So yeah, I think DeMarcus Cousins was a good move. As long as DeMarcus Cousins comes in and doesn't bring that attitude that he normally has, but it's no need to have attitude. That's a winning organization. Like you join winners, you didn't join a bunch of losers. So he should be smiling. He should be a part of all the community things they do. He should be just sit back and enjoying his time, rehabilitating himself, and getting back to 100%. And like they said, they got him for the playoffs, so he don't really have to worry about the regular season. If he can make it back to the regular season, that's a bonus. He can get his feet wet and start to run drills with teams and just get familiar with how they run ball and just like the little stuff they do on the court. But yeah, I think it's a good move. JaVale McGee, like really, dude, they was making him look more better than he was. Like JaVale McGee is not no, oh God, we lost JaVale McGee. No, no, don't ever get it misconstrued. It's no big deal that they lost JaVale McGee and the other player, I forget his name.
Zaza
Uh,
Pachulia.
yeah, Pachulia.
He's
Now
on the Pistons
I like
now.
Zaza Pachulia. Don't get me wrong, but they'll be fine. They got enough scoring coming off that bench and guys stepping up to the plate. And who the heck doesn't want to keep winning? Like, so they're going to get max effort from their players. Their coach is great. Shout out to Steve Kerr. We appreciate you, Steve Kerr. Uh, Shout out to the whole Warriors squad. Y'all the champs. Y'all the defending champs. Just like my Eagles, we defending champs. The road, the road to the NBA Finals goes through the Warriors, just like the road to the Super Bowl goes through the Eagles. It's just that simple.
So Amina, is it that simple?
Oh, he shows some love to my team. Geeking over here. Um, but yeah, this off season we picked up the Marcus Boogie Cousins from the Pelicans. Thank you so much for the present y'all sent our way. Um, he decided to not take the 2 year contract extension they wanted to give him, and no other team that I know of contacted him this off season. So he went out on a humble whim, as I said in the article I wrote about Boogie, about how he took humble approach, and he actually contacted the Warriors. The Warriors did not contact him. So he contacted the owners and the general manager of the team, had a conversation, had a physical examination, and he got signed. And now he's on a team that just won their third chip in 4 years. And we're gearing up to win a three-peat for 2019. Like Colin said, something that hasn't been seen in the NBA since the 2000, 2001, 2002 Lakers with Shaq and Kobe. So that'll be another history making moment for us in 2019. Um, the loss of JaVale McGee to the Lakers and Zaza Pachulia to the Pistons. Um, Great members of the franchise while they were with us on Warriors Dub Nation. I'm going to miss more so Zaza because he was reliable, not so much during the regular season, but when it came to the playoffs, when he was needed, when he was called, he answered and he got the job done. So the Pistons, y'all out there in Detroit, y'all picked up a, a good, great player that when he shows up, he shows up. Y'all don't have a scrub on y'all team from the Warriors on the Pistons. So. And other news for the Warriors, we're also developing our draft pick, Jacob Evans. He's doing well in the summer league. I want him to work on um, his scoring a little bit and one other thing. But his defense is great and he can run the ball and he's developing his ball handling skills for the professional level from his college years. So Jacob Evans, he's doing well. Also, this week past, we got another new piece to our puzzle. The former Utah Jazz power forward Jonas Jerebko. We picked him up, and he is dynamic on the floor. He was on the Pistons, Celtics, and the Jazz. And when he was on those three teams, he got the job done. He's about business. He gets the work done. And I believe wholeheartedly that 2019 he will get his first NBA Finals ring and be happy about his life. Um, we're also making moves this off season going into the season starting in October in order to keep two of our big men whose contracts are coming up next year in reference to Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. Got to keep the family together. We're on a mission right now. So got to do that. Steph Curry, he's on a new contract, so don't have to worry about them. And also shout out to our coach Steve Kerr for all his hard work. He's about to get one of the biggest NFL and not NFL, one of the biggest NBA head coach and contracts in history. And he truly, truly, really deserves it. I mean, this coach bought my team up from the Rebels, bought this team their first championship win in 40 years. For 2015, the team had won anything since 75. It was Steve Kerr's first year on the team, and he won a finals like on a rookie contract. So and he won two more since. It doesn't happen with a lot of coaches in the NBA, a success story of his. So he's on this coming season, he's on the last year of his 5-year rookie coaching contract. So he'll get a new contract hopefully within the next few weeks or months. And it's going to be a lot of money with it. And that'll be a 5-year contract, hopefully. So he'll be with the team for many years to come. So it's stability for the team. So it's not too much shaky, rocky stuff going on. So players can have the ability to develop their careers growth under his tenure, which is needed for a championship caliber team that's in the mindset and goals of stacking up their rings. And hopefully he can be a model to other coaches in the NBA to get their crap together and do what they're supposed to do on behalf of their organizations. Uh, I'm happy and proud as a Warriors fan. Back-to-back finals wins over the Cavaliers, and that makes me so happy. So I'm looking forward to next season. It's either going to be Warriors and Celtics or Warriors and Sixers. Whatever it goes, it all depends on the Eastern Conference playoffs next year. But I'm looking forward to either playing the Celtics or Sixers. Uh, let's go Warriors. 3-peat next year. Stairway to 7. Need a 7th banner now. Oh yeah, if we win next year, which I say we will, we're going to dethrone the Chicago Bulls in the NBA Finals power ranking because they got 6 and we got 6, so we're tied. So we win, we dethrone Chicago, which is going to be another history making moment. Proud about that. Highland.
Let me just say this: the Warriors are a very good team. They are the primary definition of a plan, and the numbers work for you. They are a really good team. They definitely deserve all that they're getting as far as
No.
the success and everything that they have. They totally deserve it. It's very well earned for them. But, they were able to take advantage, God, because we don't believe in luck on this podcast, was on their side. They were able to get, uh, they were able to get them. I mean, he's coming off an injury. So he basically fell to the Warriors, even though he called them. He literally did fall to the Warriors because everybody's worried about his Achilles. And with big men, if their Achilles go, they go. So, worked out for the Warriors with that one. And Draymond Green was all like, "Come join us and get your ring, bruh." And so DeMarcus Cousins was all like, "Well, I've never been in the playoffs." This is how I think it should go. It's a fun fact. DeMarcus Cousins has never been in the playoffs in his however many year career. He hasn't found much success since leaving Kentucky, which says a lot about him. Underachiever. Uh, some people will argue that he's the greatest big man in the NBA, but I argue that in order to be a great big man, you got to go to the postseason. So I think I think that there are two way better centers than him. I think Anthony Davis is better than him, and I think Joel Embiid is better than him. Yeah, I said it. And I think that DeMarcus Cousins, he's a great player, great rebounder. He needs to check his attitude at the door. The Warriors are getting a hungry Boogie Cousins, which is usually a good Boogie Cousins. He gets to go back to the state of California, which is a chill state and where he started his career. Only fitting that on the downside of his career, he gets to go back to the state of California and go to the best team in California right now. And you get to go there, do his thing. The Jonas Jerebko, that was a good little stealth move by the Warriors. But I think that the Warriors will not do it this year because I think that it's going to be all.
For 3-peating.
I think it's going to shut your mouth for me. That's my turn. You went on for 20 minutes. It's my turn. And I think that the Sixers will get to the finals. They will get Kawhi Leonard. They will get Kemba Walker. They're going to get a king to come here with a K in their name because us people with K's in our name were kings. Just saying, and queens. And they're going to get a big K. They're going to either get Kawhi or Kemba Walker. That's going to be the final piece. And we're going to the finals, and we're going to beat the Warriors. It may take 7 games. It may take 6. It may take 5. But we're going to get rid of the Warriors dynasty. It'll be another team in Philly on the underdog. You heard this before, Amina. Everybody's doubting them. They saying they can't do it. I've said before off air. I'm saying it now on air. The Sixers' journey is mirroring the Eagles this past year. Nobody really thought they'd do anything. They're counting them out. This is the year, man. 2 parades down Broad Street. I know Amina's worried because I've been right so far this year. It's the year of the underdog. 2 parades down Broad Street. 4:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on July 14th. It will happen. the Sixers are going to go to the finals, and they will dethrone the Warriors. We'll call it now. They will dethrone the Warriors. Amina doesn't want to hear this.
How are you going to do that when they can't even get over the Celtics in the playoffs?
That's your mouth. That's your mouth. We're going to.
Let's go, Boston. Boston. Celtics.
You live in Philly. Blasphemy. You know you don't root for any Boston team. You live in Philly. Listen. So we're going to destroy the Boston team. It's going to be another
versus Celtics 2019.
We're going to destroy two dynasties. We're going to destroy the Celtics, and we're going to destroy the Warriors. That Eagles magic is going to be with the Sixers this year. You wait and see. They're going to have the best record in the East, be a #1 seed, dethrone those injury-prone Celtics, because the Celtics have two of the most injury-prone players in the league on their team, even though the Warriors got them beat with the most injury-prone big man in the league. But they have Kyrie Irving. I was about to say Kawhi Leonard. They have Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward, two people that sneeze and get injured. So I don't want to hear nothing about this. I have to hear all this all week. Oh, the Celtics are better than the Sixers. Oh, and then I bring up that they got two of the most injury-prone players, and everybody gets all quiet. You think the Celtics are going to win because the only thing they have is Jason Tatum. That's it. That's the only thing they got on us. And the Sixers made a stealth move by getting Wilson Chandler to body up, D up, and frustrate Jason Tatum. And then we'll get Kawhi Leonard, who will body up and frustrate Jason Tatum even more. Kawhi Leonard single-handedly almost beat the Warriors. And when he was in the last game, I know Amina doesn't want to hear this because she remembers that game. Her Warriors were down by 26. It looked like they were on the ropes. Kawhi Leonard was single-handedly about to beat her Warriors, and he will single-handedly lead us to the promised land. Get Joel Embiid a ring. Get Ben Simmons away from the Kardashian curse, and we're going to win. We're going to the finals. We're going to get Kawhi Leonard. It's going to start soon. You're going to be
point guard Steph Curry about to get his 4th ring.
You're going to be enjoy it while you can, Amina. Enjoy it while you can.
Steph Curry about to be a 4-time champion. You better recognize.
Well, the dynasty is about to start in Philly. Eagles and Sixers. Maybe the Phillies and the Flyers, but at least the Eagles and the Sixers. Anyway, moving right along. All right, guys. Our Eagles. We're going to talk of, speaking of champions, our Eagles. The first champions of the new year. Our Eagles. The first and the best champions of 2018. The Philadelphia Eagles. Right? They're getting ready to start training camp. Doug Peterson said that he doesn't know if Carson Wentz will be ready by training camp. So, guys, can the Eagles do it? Will they repeat? Have they done enough? Are they the best team in the NFC? You know, some people say it's the Packers, it's the Cowboys. Amina, can my Eagles do it? Or I'm sorry, here comes Dre. Andre, can our Eagles? Oh, go ahead, Amina. Andre can be
like. Eagles, they're okay. They won their ring, and I don't think that the Packers are better than them right now. But the Eagles, are they the best team in their division? Yes. Are they the best team in the NFL? Nah. They're one of the top 10 teams in the NFL. I give them that. Their coach is great. Their players are great, but just got one ring in your entire franchise history. I can't.
Excuse me, miss. We're talking about 2018. We're not talking about 2000, 2001 when George Bush was president when your team won. We're talking about 2018, not 14 years ago. We're not talking about that. We're talking about who the best team in the NFL is right now in 2018. Who got the ring, Amina? You already know who the best team is. Who got the ring? To beat a man, you got to beat the man. Go ahead.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that as of February, Eagles won. Yes. Are they the best team in the in the NFL, according to Eagles fans by his statement, yes. Um, but do they have a chance at winning again next year? Maybe, maybe not. Are the Packers better than them? No. As far as Tony Romo, what he's saying on the internet, Packers versus Jaguars for the Super Bowl next year. Jaguars, yes. Packers, no. Aaron Rodgers, one ring still. That's what he'll have. Eagles. Please start Nick Foles for the season. Don't put Wentz out there. Don't do that again, or he'll get that leg busted up again. Don't do that to yourself. But put Foles back out there. Let Foles start the season until further notice. Um, Eagles. Yeah.
All right, so y'all know what it is. Y'all know who the defending champs is. Y'all know who just won the Super Bowl.
I'm a Raiders fan, by the way.
We know. We know.
It's that black. It's that black. It's that
Black
black
and
and silver.
Black and Silver.
Yeah.
Al Davis organization. Let's go.
We know. Last championship 14 years ago. We know.
Shout out to the black and
Don't hate on the Black and Silver.
the black and silver. The Chucky era's coming. We not worried about nobody. Everybody need to be worried about us and what we gonna do. We definitely gonna repeat. Cause we hungry and we want to prove that we can win with our starting quarterback, Carson Wentz. You know, we feel so disrespected of our rankings, of how they are ranking of our quarterback. So we're gonna put it on top. And we want to make sure everybody never forgets what team rode through the NFL twice. So we gonna listen. We better than the Patriots. You know, Tom Brady is past his prime. He's on the downside of his career. He can keep trying to bring them Ugg boots on the field if he wants to. We gonna kill them Ugg boots. You hear us? We gonna light that old man up. It's time for a new generation. It's time for a new era, a new dynasty. And you are looking at it, the Philadelphia Eagles.
They're going to give him a sixth ring before he retires. Just watch.
Yeah, okay. And Michael Jordan will come back and win the championship. That won't be happening.
You can trust to believe that Tom Brady is going to retire with 6 rings. He's going to get one before he retires. It's going to happen. Watch.
He probably going to cheat his way to it if it ever happens. He going to deflate every ball. He going to spy on every team. You know, I don't know what else.
The 6th ring, and he's going to get it.
Yeah, he thinks he's Thanos, but no, we going to show him. Ain't no Thanos in the NFL, baby. And we taking over this thing, and you know, it's just that simple. Like, listen, if you want to win the Super Bowl, come holler at us. But until then, just sit back and watch and enjoy the show. Get your popcorn ready, like my man T.O. said. And forget the guy, who was it? Just don't shade at T.O. because T.O. didn't want to come to the Hall of Fame. You know, that's his right. If you don't want to come, you don't want to come. But how petty are you? You talking about I'm not gonna mention his name now? Like, really, dude? Really? Come on, man. Let's grow up here. Man. He not gonna be my friend. I don't want to be his friend.
All right, so are the Eagles the best team in the NFL? Right now, as Ric Flair would say, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And the men right now are the Eagles. The crown is in Philadelphia. They'll be in Philadelphia until next February when we beat whoever that sorry team is that's coming from the AFC. Doesn't matter if it's the Patriots again. Eagles Patriots Part 2. Doesn't matter if it's the Raiders. Doesn't matter if it's the Part 3. You're right, Matt. Part 3, but Part 2, you know, from last year. But you're right, Part 3. And doesn't matter who it is. The Eagles are going to repeat. Why? It's not even because of Carson Wentz. You know what? The Eagles made the stealthiest move of the offseason when they did 2 things. They took advantage of the fact the Seahawks have decided that controversy kills teams, and they went and got Michael Bennett to add to a defensive line that includes Fletcher Cox, Derek Barnett, Chris Long, Timothy Jernigan. They went and got Haloti Nada, the single-handed anchor, not single-handed, but one of the anchors of the Ravens defense. One of the they went and added to that defensive line that was out there leading in sacks. Everybody says that, oh my goodness, on defense you should be so scared of Aaron Donald, of J.J. Watt. Oh, two players that can't even stay healthy enough to be on the field. But no, you should be scared of a defensive line that includes Fletcher Cox, a defensive line that includes Timothy Jernigan. I don't know how people do defensive players and Fletcher Cox isn't on that list. Timothy Jernigan isn't on that list. Derek Barnett, who was out here destroying teams as only his rookie.
The disrespect is astounding.
Listen, but every time they list the defenses, they name the Vikings and the Rams over the Eagles defense. It's like the Eagles just didn't add Michael Bennett, didn't add Haloti Nada. It's like Jordan Hicks isn't coming back healthy or hungry because this is his last year of his rookie contract. He has to prove something.
Aren't we forgetting Brandon Graham?
I was just about to say Brandon Graham, the man who single-handedly killed the Patriots dynasty. The man who's also wants a bigger contract. Carson Wentz, when he gets healthy, the man that wants to prove that he is not Phil Simms and that he will win the Super Bowl before it's done. You know, we've got so many people with something to prove. Jason Peters, who needs to prove that he can win the ring healthy or not. You know, there's so many people on the Eagles that need to prove something. You know, the Eagles are the best team in the NFL. They have the best defense in the NFL. You know, they have the best two quarterbacks in the NFL. You know, whether Tom Brady plays or not. Some of y'all you're on Tom Brady's jock so much. You know, Tom Brady won that MVP by default. Everybody here agrees. Had my man's Carson Wentz not gotten injured, he'd be the MVP. But because of the Rams and that cheap shot on my man's knee, they took my man's out. But it's all good. He's going to come back being his junior year in the NFL. He's going to rip defenses apart. We're going to run through everyone. We're going to be 14-2 or 13-3 this year. And that'll be good enough for a number one seed again. We'll get a week off. We'll get it together. We'll make another run to the Super Bowl. The best team in the NFL. If you want a shot at the Super Bowl, you got to go through the Eagles. We run the NFC. That's who runs the NFC, the Eagles. Not that underachiever Aaron Rodgers. Not that old and soon to be out of touch Drew Brees. Not the not the disappointing Falcons. Not the Aints. Not the hurt Packers. Nobody. It's the Eagles. Definitely not the Cowboys. Definitely not the Deadskins. Nobody's running the NFL except us. Not the midgets. Not anybody else. The Eagles. Go ahead, Matt.
My man said this Philadelphia Eagle team, I think until further notice, will have a great shot at repeating, barring catastrophic events. Because I'm going to tell you this right now, and I agree with Colin on this one. This Eagle team reloaded the gun, and they're going for it again. And the disrespect that we're getting from ESPN, from Fox Sports, and the like is utterly ridiculous. And I'm here to tell everybody here under the sound of my voice, the Philadelphia Eagles are as of right now, we play. It's training camp didn't start yet. This team is going back to the Super Bowl. You could have a Eagle Patriot Part 3 or Oakland Philadelphia Part 2. We don't care who it is. The point is, this team is going back because of the reloading gun, barring catastrophic stuff that goes on. This team has been well coached. This team has pretty much been hard to stop and hard to pick apart, especially with their play calling and everything else. It is very difficult to stop. And Carson, me all the way to the O line, to the revolving door of the D lines. This team, it's not, it's, it's that. But remember, now the target is on us now. The bullseye is on us. They're going to give every, all teams that are facing us are going to give us their best shot because we're the champs. And we have to, and this team will have to bear down, play to the opposition, not down it, to it, and do what we need to do to get to where we want to go, which is a repeat. Let the fans of the National Football League know that this team is for real. This franchise is for real. We are not here for one and done. We are here to say we want more than what we have. Yes, we are in the toughest division of football, the National Football Conference Eastern Division. Yes, it is. And oh, by the way, just to let you know, 5, 9, 10, 11, 5, yeah, 5, 9, 10, 11, 13. 13 of the 52, 13 of the 52 were world champions are in that division, and the Eagles are one of them. So I'll tell you now, this team is not satisfied. This team is not satisfied. I promise you, this team is going back to the Super Bowl.
Well, let me end by saying this. Listen, Carson, take your time, my man. This is your team. You're 25 years old. You're going to be here for like the next 10 years, 10 to 15 years. You're going to last just as long, if not longer, than Donovan. We have a really good offensive line. Take your time, man. Stay prayed up. Go to church. Keep on doing your missions. Build that sports complex in Haiti. Take your time, man. You know, just be like DeMarcus Cousins. Just coast until, well, honestly, I don't want you coasting until the postseason, but come back when you're ready. If that's week 3, fine. If that's week 4, fine. You know, this is your Tom Brady year. Take some time off. Get up there, and then when we're ready, let Nick have the ship, and then you come in. You show him that you're not Phil Simms. You show him that was your Super Bowl. It just so happened that, you know, you were doing too much, and a Rams cornerback went for your knee, and then that was it. But you're still the man in this city. You're still the man.
You better be careful about that man business because you know the man's about to retire.
Oh man! All right, so we're right along. We got. Okay, Derek Carr. We know. Get out of here, Derek Carr. So anyway, moving right along.
Some respect on my quarterback. Thank you very much. I respect your.
He's a top 10 quarterback. I'll give it to you. But he's in a tough division. You know, he's got a.
That's being nice about being top 10. Derek Carr, he's on the rim of 10. Okay, he's like number 13 on my list. He's on the rim, all because of the crappy receivers that he has right now. The rim.
Better watch what you say about my quarterback.
I don't care if it's the truth.
Come down into Louisiana and show you better than I can tell you.
So, all right. So moving right along. All right, guys. So our last of our 3 questions, and the one that Amina has put there for a while She wants us to review 45's second year in office, which is almost over. I know it's hard to believe it's been 2 years. It feels like six, but it's 2 years, and Matt's already unmuted, so I'm sure he wants to go in. So go in, Matt. Go ahead.
It's here he is, year two, and we're trying to figure out how on God's green earth we are surviving. How in the world that this man, this orangutan, this leader of the free tanning world, President asshole, President add derogatory name here, or my new one so far, President Blitzkrieg. Yes, President Blitzkrieg. Okay, all right, one more. President Orange Blimp.
Yo, you wildin', man. Stop it for the niggas get in here. Yo, you wild.
All right, President Newborn Baby. Look, the bottom line is simply that
Secret Service gonna be a Maddie tour.
this man does not know how to be president. This man does not understand what it takes to be president. This man does not have his facts straight in order to understand the the, the situations and everything that revolves around this country that is the United States of America. Oh, wait a minute, we have lost all respect in the world. We lost all credibility, and to get it back is going to take a lot of time. So for those people, and it's the minority keyword, the minority that voted for this ape of a president, this primate of a president, this I don't know, President Combe over here, that you voted. This is your leader, your dumb leader. I hope 2018 turns everything over, even to whereas you brought in and named Kavanaugh as the one to take this. You know what? I've had enough. It's a playtime is over. You thought this was a joke. You thought, yeah, coast you 4 years and ignore. Never mind the law. You want to ignore the Constitution.
Matt, are you talking about Supreme Court Justice debt? You talk about Justice, soon to be Supreme Court Justice Nationals tickets debt? Talk about that man? The man with $200,000 worth of of Washington Nationals ticket debt? That dude?
That guy. That dude.
You talk about him? Man.
That idiot. And all the other idiots that's lining up his cabinet. I.e. Kelly, I'm look so ugly Conway. The one whose makeup looks so bad it makes the Joker blush. You talk about Sarah. I don't know what I'm talking about. Sanders. That everything that comes out of her mouth. I'm surprised her nose hasn't shot out from Washington to Florida so far. I could go on. The fact of the matter is, this is a circus. This is a joke, and this midterm has got to change and flip. I mean, everything has to flip to not just where the Democrats take over, but I'm sorry, the Democrats got to understand that the progressives are taking over, and you must step aside and let the young people, the older millennials, take over and say, this is how this country is going to be run. You don't like socialism? Well, tough noogies, grow a pair, because as far as I'm concerned, we're for the people and by the people. We're going to protect and defend the Constitution. That document that tells us what we can and cannot do. That thing, that 230 some odd year old document that's still in operation. That thing, Mr. President, Mr. Wannabe President, because you sure ain't my president, because if you was a real president, you'd be protecting the laws, obeying the laws, and the Constitution, and do what you've been told to do or what you swore to do, which in this case is, I don't know, to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, and you have not done so, sir. You should remove yourself. Resist. Remove.
All right, so Matt is in the it sucks. It's been a sucky 2 years category. Andre, your turn. Dre, you there? Hmm. All right. Go ahead, Amina.
It's been a rather interesting 2 years coming up in November of Donald John Trump Sr.'s first term as president. The biggest thing that I can notice about his presidency thus far is the constant changing of people in his administration as far as his cabinet. Like, you never know who's going to be there today or who's going to be not be there tomorrow. You just never know. Somebody screws up, he gets rid of them. The biggest surprise of his administration so far is I'm surprised that Ben Carson has lasted this long. Like, I could have swore he was going to be the first person that was going to be like, "You time to go," but this man is still kicking around. I got I don't know what Ben Carson doing to be able to stick around him for this long, but he doing it. Um, his legacy as far as the president
Do
is
you really?
already being
Do you
is
really
already
want me to say it when it comes to him? Because I will.
well done.
He's got
Um,
he's got that token
No,
arm.
no, 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 no.
yeah,
I think you should say
we
it.
know that, but outside of that, but it's rather interesting how his legacy is already being cemented as far as the border situation,
Whoa, hold on, I
healthcare.
gotta stop you there. What damn legacy you talking about? If you had a legacy, it'll be something that you'd be
Every
remembered.
president has had a legacy, whether it was good or bad. It's just
Well, guess what?
how
This
they're
is.
it's
I'm
how they
sorry.
will it's how they will be remembered looking back when they're no longer president. And
Well,
this is
guess
what he's
what? He should be no longer president after this minute. He should be no longer
Maddie,
president
Maddie, calm
10
down.
days ago. No, this president is an asshole, and this president, flat ass president, I can't fit a
Oh my
jacket
God.
to save my life, should not even be in the Oval Office right now. And
Maddie,
his jackets and his suits are so big on him. It makes the skinniest man look like a bodybuilder.
yes. But at the end of the day, I think for his first term, the biggest thing he's going to be remembered for is this border crisis situation. And it's interesting. Like, I knew he was going to win, when it was the election season. Hillary Clinton be president in which universe? Um, but hey, it is what it is. But and he on Friday yesterday he met Elizabeth over there in the England for the first time, and based on so-called world protocols,
And he was late. And he was late. And he
he
embarrassed us
he
again.
walked in front of her. He didn't look behind and check on her or anything. So he put on a big show. Him and Melania went over there to meet her for the first time ever. So the pictures of that encounter are all online, and people are weighing in on it. She's met every U.S. president for the last since 1952. They said so. That's a lot of presidents since I guess what Eisenhower days, roughly. Um, Trump, yeah, his presidency is one for the ages. I gotta say, that's what I gotta say.
Um. mm, mm. Uh. So his presidency so far, I give it a C. If you're somebody who has stocks, a 401k, or anything, I think you think this presidency is pretty good for you because he hasn't truly messed up the economy yet. So that's good. He's kept Obama's framework alive. I mean, he's more of a off the cuff president. That's really what he is. Some people might say, he's a late president. He's always eternally on CPT time. And I hate using that because I know a lot of African Americans, we use that as an excuse to why we're always eternally late to everything. But he's on CPT time. I mean, as Amina alluded to, he met with Queen Elizabeth and was late to that meeting. How you are late to a meeting with a 98, 99-year-old queen. Somebody can remind me how old Elizabeth is. I think she's in her 90s. She's in her 90s. She's on her way out, essentially. And you kept her waiting. She's got grandkids to get to. You probably missed some time to come and meet with Trump and Melania. And, they kept her waiting. So that's weird. He's always late. I mean, he's an embarrassment sometimes, He goes over there, he lectures, he lies a lot. I mean, I've never seen somebody lie so much, and people still love him, he is crazy. There's not really much else to say. I mean, he's off the cuff, but he hasn't done too much damage to us, Unfortunately, it seems like his travel ban will probably go into effect. He's gotten some Supreme Court justice in there. I know a lot of conservative Christians are happy about Neil Gorsuch. I know a lot of Democrats and progressives are not happy because they wanted Merrick Garland, but unfortunately, probably gonna have to wait until the next Democratic president and hope that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, that guy keeps Ruth Bader Ginsburg for another 2 to 8 years alive, so that he doesn't get a third Supreme Court justice seat. And that's really all you can do at this point. The best review of him is he hasn't freaked it up too terribly, and I guess that's what we can thank God for. We're not totally screwed yet. So I've said this before, I'll say it again. He's a repeat of Richard Nixon and Joe McCarthy combined, because if you look at your history books, he's definitely Richard Nixon, a combination of Joe McCarthy. That's what he is. So moving right along to our next two questions. One's more controversial, so we'll save that. One. So guys, this is not the first time we talked about this, but we're going to bring it up again. The WNBA, Aja Wilson, a WNBA rookie from South Carolina, Matt's home state, a Gamecock, came and said that WNBA players should be played just as well or be just as well compensated as their NBA counterparts. Now, I will say, because I know a lot of times when this comes up, we get people on the extreme side. Amin and I had a very, very heated argument off air about it. So let me just say this. I'll start. I think it's a crying shame that WNBA players have a starting salary of $51,000. Just to put that in perspective, we talked about this before when it comes to the D League. D League players, people who are in the minor league of basketball, make about, I think we talked about this, $80,000 to $100,000 on their contracts, and that's just to play in the minor leagues of basketball. And WNBA players make minimum of $50,000 a year to about max of 71 right now, and it keeps going up. But it's a shame that they make about what an average middle class person makes for just getting a bachelor's degree, And I think that they should at least make $1 million. I'm not saying that they should make $154 million or $40 million a game like Steph Curry does. Not saying that. But I am saying this, that the NBA, if they are not careful, because this keeps coming up every July, I don't know why the NBA acts like they don't own the WNBA, because they do. It's not like it's European football or anything. I don't know why the NBA allows this to happen, allows the talent to go over there, because it's not like it's an unequal disparity. Like when the women's team plays and the men's USA basketball team plays, they both go and get gold medals. Some people would say because the men fell off for a while, It didn't take. They didn't need a dream team to get people interested in men's basketball again. The women have always been consistent, just like the women's soccer team, and just like the women's soccer team, they eventually got tired and decided to sue the U.S. Soccer Federation. I brought this up, and a lot of people may disagree with me, but the NBA will truly have a problem if they don't handle this before Diana Taurasi, Candace Parker, Maya Moore, Sue Bird, and everybody else. When the Players Association gets together and says, because they all share the same representation, but when the Players Association gets together and says, hey guys, there's nothing we can do, I guess we need to look at our legal options. I said this off there. A lot of people may disagree with me because they think because the NBA treats their women better than the U.S. Soccer Federation, they think that they won't sue the NBA. Now, let me tell you this. The NBA is a relatively progressive league, except for when it comes to this. Because every July, I feel like we've talked about this. Matt or Amita can stop me if I'm wrong, but I feel like every July, I bring this up. Somebody bring this up. A famous women's b-ball player brings this up, that we should get just as much, if not, or basically we should be better compensated for what we do. Because, as I've said, they play later, and most people want to know why it is that the WNBA comes on so late. The reason why it comes on around this time is because Candace Parker, Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore, and the rest of the big WNBA stars that you know play overseas. Why is that? Because they can make more money overseas. And I think it's a crying shame that Maya Moore, all of our best basketball talent, has to go overseas to get their money. They literally have to do what college basketball players do to avoid getting paid by the NCAA. And you know it's bad when I'm saying because I love the NBA, when I'm saying that the NBA is a better, when I'm comparing the NBA's stance on paying women to the NCAA stance of not paying anybody. You know it's bad when somebody like me, who is a noted basketball lover, I don't say too much about the NBA and what they do offside the basketball court, because they're usually a progressive league, but I don't understand why they're ahead of the times on so many issues, but behind on the most important one. Adam Silver, I'm telling you right now, this is a problem for you. LeBron James has said they should be paid equally. Not Paul George. Paul George has said it. Chris Paul has said it. Damian Lillard just said it a couple weeks ago. This is a problem for you, my man. Don't let this be what derails you from bringing basketball back, bringing the NBA back as the number one sport in America. Because the NBA is on the rise, TV contracts are up, ratings are up. I don't understand. I made this point to Amina, and nobody's been able to debunk what I've said. I don't understand why the NBA can't take a loss and just give everybody $1 million. That's the least you could do, and then progressively raise up the scale after that. But there is no reason why Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore, and the rest of them are only making $71,000, and they're really good basketball players. I don't understand this. Matt, take this from me before I say something. Before I say something else against the NBA. Go ahead, get on the soapbox.
You know what? I'll tell you something. Nothing would make anyone happy with the fact that you see these contracts in the NBA now, which now they're reaching triple nine digits now. And meanwhile, in your women's department of the National Basketball Association, you're at minimum $50,000. $50,000. Let's think about that. Like you said, that is the average. That's for some people. That's average coming out of the college salary. And you mean you would say, "Hey, here's $50,000. Have at it." No, I don't look. I don't blame those players you've listed to go overseas to make more money because that's where the money is. If you want to be competitive, and don't get me wrong, the WNBA is a very competitive league in its own right. But as far as economics is concerned, you must understand. You must understand that unfortunately, here in America, women's sports is not king, unfortunately. Women's sports is sometimes looked down as minor league to various people, which it is not. Yet women always taking the short. It has always gotten the short end of the stick in sports. For example, in the Women's World Cup 2 years ago, normally you will play soccer or football on regular run of the mill grass. No, not the but but FIFA got in its own way, like they always do, and mandated that mandated that women play on turf, field turf, which one school linked it to cancer. Field turf, short end of the stick. It is up to us as consumers to say, hey, either we support the product, pump more money to said product, so this play endorsements and everything else to get the idea that the WNBA, which has lasted for 20 years, 20 plus years, you're talking about. I remember watching the first WNBA finals, man, with the former Houston Comets, and you're sitting here, and you're telling me I'm watching the WNBA for a lot of ballers. Don't watch if you watch the game of basketball. This should and you love the game so much, you should be watching the WNBA. If you love basketball so picking much, you should be watching the league. You should be supporting the league. You should be putting some type of investment and time into this league because here you are. You talk about the NBA, 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 which by the way is for me is hit or miss. Some seasons are hit or miss, and yet you complaining, griping about this league, which is pretty good. My say so myself. There's a lot of problems with this thing, but the NBA must get this right. They gotta get this right. If you call yourself progressive, if you call yourself, the leader of progressive sports, which is by the way, NBA is a world-based game. You should be in the forefront when it comes to women's issues. And unfortunately, you've taken a couple steps back. Congratulations, NBA. You are this week's sap of the week.
Amina?
Yes, I agree with what you all both said as far as they should get more money, and I'm in agreement with them starting out at the 1 million. But after that, it needs to be a situation where they are bringing in revenue. Me and Kylan have had countless conversations about this since I don't know when about the WNBA's pay scale versus the men's league, the NBA, and they have to revenue. It can't get no way around it. Revenue is where the ticket sales come from, and ticket sales reflect the paycheck. It's no way around it. In any other sport, if if attendance is down in the arena or stadium, then you're not going to get as much money. Like the WNBA needs to seriously sit down with Adam Silver and the rest of the people on the NBA board, and I don't want to say renew themselves, but re re jumpstart this league if they truly want to go far and beyond. Come up with ways where they can get serious endorsement deals like the men in the NBA do. Come up with ways where sponsors of great known companies want to give you multi-million-dollar contracts. Find out ways to get more than half of this arena filled to the capacity for every game. Find out ways so your parking lot doesn't look like when a store first opens in the morning, empty. Find out ways to get your name out there. It's just not about the money outside of that. Of course, it's a whole process of getting these multi-million-dollar contracts. If you're not doing the work outside of the court that the men are doing, then you can't expect the money that they are getting. I'm just saying, like, it's a lot of variables and factors that go into these multi-million-dollar contracts these men are getting. Steph Curry is not making over 40 million a season now because he just plays ball and shoots threes. That man does a lot of things outside of basketball, of the basketball court, for basketball and community service and other things. Like, but when you look at the WNBA, sure, it may be a few here and there that's doing things to get revenue and money and attention, but it's lacking. They're really going to have to come to the table at some point sooner than later, because as Kylan said, this is a conversation that has been coming up every summer, basically since the WNBA started in the 90s. And it's not going anywhere. It's going to keep coming up. It's going to be here for 2019. If it's not dealt with now, it's going to be talked about again 2019 summer, and so on and so forth. I'm just saying, like, yes, give them money, but outside of that, they have to do the work that the men in the NBA do.
Okay, I feel the need to hit everybody with facts. So let me remind y'all of something that a lot of y'all probably don't even know. First league to actually let players, because for those of you that don't know, before the NBA lets the men do something, they try it out in the WNBA first. First team to have sponsorships on their jerseys, the WNBA.
Of course.
First league to you want to know how they keep talking about divisions and everything? First league to get rid of divisions, WNBA. First league to let the women play 12 minutes, WNBA. You know, you want to know why you keep getting Mercury and Minnesota Lynx and they play in the same conference? Because the WNBA, the NBA said to heck with the conferences, we're just going to let the best teams play. WNBA does that experiment. First people to wear hoodies and get involved in this whole protest and progressive movement was the WNBA. It was not LeBron James and them that were the first ones to wear hoodies for Trayvon Martin. That was the WNBA. It was not Kyrie Irving that wore "I Can't Breathe" shirt first. That was the WNBA. Let's stop. Let's speak facts here. The WNBA does everything first before the men. You know? Before they allowed all that sponsorship stuff, it was the WNBA. I don't want to hear this cop out of they can't get big name sponsors. Maya Moore is a Jordan athlete. I don't want to hear that. There's a lot of Nike athletes that are women in the WNBA. I don't want to hear that. I really don't. I don't want to hear that they need to get sponsorships. It's not just we keep passing this buck. This is why this soccer. This is why Hope Solo and them went on and sued the U.S. Soccer Federation, because as regular people, we keep passing the buck and saying they need to do more. I just named you facts that they did before all your favorite basketball players. They wore hoodies first. They got sponsorships first. They got rid of the whole division stuff first. Everything that y'all want to see in the NBA is done in the WNBA first. So again, let me ask you something. Why is it that they can't get equal payment If before they do anything else in the NBA, they use the WNBA as guinea pigs. If I told you, a lot of y'all would have said, "Oh, the first athlete to wear hoodies and do all that, that was LeBron James with the Miami Heat," but it wasn't. It was the Lynx.
I understand that, but outside of these facts, when you look at the time span of the seasons, do you think that the women that only play 4 months should get the same amount that the men that play 8 months should get?
But is that? But listen, see, like I would say, if they
They play
only
half
play.
a season compared to the NBA.
But you
So
know why? But you know why they do that? Because half of them are overseas because they don't get compensated. That's the
of
NBA.
course, I'm just saying if they want the same money, go 8 months like the NBA. Go
Eh,
all the way.
Okay, but here, let me ask you something. If they play 8 months, and let no, hold up, man. I'm about to get it with this too. If they started in 8 months, so let's just say they're starting with football like the NBA does. You
Football
think?
6 months.
Hold up, time out. You think that if they started, let's just say the NBA says, "All right, we'll start y'all with us." All basketball starts in October. So let me ask you something. If you had the choice between college basketball, college football, because that's what's going on in the fall. So let's just end this right now. If you had the choice between the NBA, the NFL, let's just say on your television at the same time on the weekend, Sunday night, you got a choice between Warriors, Lakers. You got a choice between Mercury Lynx, and then you got a choice between Raiders and anybody else. What you choosing? If they start,
First, first
if they,
I'll choose my NBA team.
Whoa, and don't forget, in
and,
October
if
you
you
got
and if you have
postseason
the World Series going on at the same time, let's just be honest here. If they
and
started
the
at,
NHL. And the
if
NHL
they,
season starts in early October.
if they all started at the same time, you really think the WNBA would do well against all that?
No, I'm just saying that they start when the NBA is doing their playoffs and they end right when the NBA started. So they barely have a season.
That's a terrible idea. Here's why. First
Four
off, you
months, they barely have a
no no no
season,
no
and they
no
want
no
all this
no
money.
no. This is where, again, you have to look at perspective here. You know full darn well the NBA finals they take up 2 weeks of the 2 weeks, and you
7 game
expect
series.
it does, but now it takes up 2 weeks. But it doesn't matter how long. But the thing is simply this: you expect your fan base to compete with the WNBA. That's not going to work. That's an automatic fail. I mean, let's take a look back in football when then Donald Trump took the USFL, moved the season to face the NFL, and look what happened. The USFL folded because of that stupid move. You cannot compete with the NFL. Everybody knows that and everybody understands that. The NBA, if you're basketball, with the exception of college basketball, you cannot compete. You cannot. To sit here, now, mind you, you do have the G League going on. You have high school basketball. You have college basketball. In some places, you got hockey going on. And this is October, you have the World Series going on. You have the NFL season in full swing. And you're going to tell me, well, and don't forget, you have some NASCAR idiots too. So you're going to tell me, you're going to slip in the NBA season in October, bad move. The summer is about right. Now, the only thing you're dealing with as far as competition in the summer is baseball, tennis, Tour de France, and stuff like that. But mostly baseball is usually your biggest competitor, and where the WNBA right now is in perfect position. Because again, there is no major other than baseball, there's no major league in play right now. Oh yeah, I forgot. MLS, Major League Soccer. So you deal with MLB and MLS, basically, in America. That's it.
So you good? So y'all good with possibly giving multi-million-dollar contracts to a franchise organization that plays half the time as the men's version?
You have to remember this: a
Go
shorter
ahead.
season. Unfortunately, a shorter season, unfortunately, is less money in the pie. But if you want more money, you have to raise ticket prices. You have to raise prices on a lot of things like memorabilia and everything else. You got to raise ticket prices if you want to compete with the NBA as far as money is concerned. Because mind you, it is an established league. They got the sponsors, they got the endorsements, they got a lot of everything. To really say I want to be as just as get paid just as much, if not around the neighborhood, you have to do that. You may have to raise ticket prices. You may have to raise
Right.
certain things in order to get revenue. But let me tell you something. I'll be honest with you. Who on God's green earth would want to go to a WNBA game that's worth
They're
thirty
not.
dollars $30 in the bleachers? I would not. You
They could
get
barely get people to come to their games now, and it's like having a women's football league that's only 3 months out of the year. That's what it is equivalent to at this point.
But listen,
unfortunately.
like I keep saying, and Matt's saying the same thing. Unfortunately, it works that way. But again, like I gave you this example, and I'll throw it out to everybody at Colin W. Watson. If they did 8 months, let's just say they started in June and went until October. Again, who if you have the choice between the WNBA finals, which will probably be Minnesota Lynx Phoenix again, or whatever it'll be, right? If you had that choice, you're watching a 7 game because they play just as many playoff games as the men. So you're watching, let's just say you got a choice between the World Series, because that's what's going on. The start of the NBA season, seeing your Warriors get their rings and raise another banner, and you got Eagles and somebody else, or Raiders and somebody else. Insert your favorite NFL team here, and then you have college football and college basketball going on at the same time. And remember, they put the WNBA mostly on Saturdays and Thursdays, meaning they're cutting into that TNF, that Thursday night football, and that Thursday night college football crowd. Again, you keep saying that they need to do something, but I keep bringing up why is that suicide to do all that?
I'm just saying
I,
something needs to be done to make themselves have
but
more appealing for revenue,
the
get
the
more
thing,
people in the stands.
but you're not gonna do that if you do what the men do, right? They all start in October. They already know what's gonna happen. Nobody, except for maybe you, me, and Matt, will choose to watch WNBA games, and that's because we like basketball in its purest form. There's not many people like us. Some people are douchebags. I don't watch the WNBA because nobody can dunk. People watch basketball. You got a lot of casuals and a lot of dummies that watch basketball and think it's all about dunking. Just like, as I know Matt hates this crowd, the people that think baseball is all about home runs. You know,
The NBA with the men is a thrill ride with an adrenaline rush, and you don't get that with the WNBA.
you do though, but
I'm
you do,
talking about compared to the NBA.
you
No,
do
no, no,
though.
no,
You
no, no,
get
no.
that in the
It's a different
WNBA.
style. It's a different style of play when you're watching those two different leagues. Even when you
One is
watch
more
college,
organic. The
and then,
WNBA is
and
in
then,
its most basic form of
but
basketball.
still, you're
Well,
watching
so
two different
this,
styles. Even if you watch
listen.
women's basketball around the world,
Let me get her hot under the collar real quick. The more purest form of basketball, and I say this about college basketball too, the purest form of basketball outside of San Antonio and Golden State is played in the WNBA. Go ahead,
That's
Matt.
what I just said. I said the basic form of basketball is the WNBA. I just said that.
No, no, no. The purest form is not the basic because you're devaluing. The purest form of basketball, unselfish, the basic tenets of basketball is the ultimate team game. The game not about
Right.
individuals, not about isolation ball, not about Carmelo Anthony ball, not about all that is played in the WNBA. Sometimes I hate watching certain teams play because it's all isolation ball. That's why I don't like watching the Thunder play. That's why I don't like watching the Rockets play. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
look, in women's basketball defense, if you watch women's basketball outside of America, the style of play is vastly different than the style of play in the United States. Now, I believe, and this is my opinion, American American basketball, women's American basketball, yeah, you can watch it in its pure form. But if you watch, I love it. If you watch the Olympics, women's basketball Olympics, I'll be honest with you, I'll be geared up to watch the Americans versus the Aussies, the Australians. I will literally be geared up to watch that game because you know full darn well the Australians they're gonna give you a run for your money all the time. And that team is usually stacked and they're pretty damn good. So you know, watching particularly the Olympics, you know, you know what it is competitive women's basketball and it's pretty damn good. So you get to the WNBA, it comes down a peg. I'm sorry to tell you, it comes down a peg. Now, compared to watching Olympic basketball for the men, right? Now, I mean, yeah, it's you're basically watching NBA Part Two, for real, for real. You're watching the NBA Summer League for grown men, and it's pretty good. It's pretty damn good. So you get to the NBA, you're watching pretty much the same thing, only it's more. What's the word I'm looking for? It it's more. I can't say condensed. It's the word I'm looking for. I can't, but it's just as good. That's all I can tell you. But style of play matters, and unfortunately for the WNBA, watching it brings the game down a peg versus Olympic women's basketball and other women's league around the world, particularly in Europe.
Okay, moving right along because we'll be here all night if we keep talking about this question. To the more controversial one, and I ask both of you to be as respectful as we can because this group of people that we're about to talk about, this topic is very controversial. It's liable to get us to bring us negative attention. It's liable to get to drive up our mentions on Twitter. Both of y'all know what I'm talking about. And this is, let me just say this: the opinions of what's about to be expressed are the opinions of the individuals and not the express opinion of the Crossover Sports Podcast and related entities to that. So, to our last question, should transgender athletes be allowed to play in the sport that with the gender that they identify as, or should they have to have the surgery first? Let's start with Amina. Go ahead, Amina. And again, please be respectful. Let's stick to the facts. Let's not go too hardcore on the opinion, even though I know all three of us have really, really tight opinions. But you already know the mentions about to go up just because we mentioned transgender. So go ahead.
Right? They come for you out here if you come for their sexual orientation. But let me not say that either. um, no, people should not. Everything has its time in society. Everything has its place in society, and everything has a reason for being in society. Things since the beginning of time have had men and men situations and women situations. That's the terminology I'm going to use to make people feel comfortable for today. Um, Even when you look at religion, you got the nuns. They live in their convent, part of the convent, and you got the monks, the men that live in their part of the wherever they live in the convent. They don't live directly together, but they do some activities sometime together, but not all the time. Um, High school, you got the football team, which is the boys, and you got the girls cheerleading squad. Um, Boy Scouts, Eagle Scouts, Cub Scouts, all boys. Girls, Girl Scouts, American Heritage Girls. Um, it's just different. Like, you got the men's restroom in the public, you got the women's restroom in the public. It's a complex situation concerning the climate that's out here, where people feel as though they are not what they really are, and they don't want to accept who they are, and they want to make it seem as though they're what they were not born to be. And it's just messed up. So what you're telling me is I've seen a few articles about this circulating around online, Google, Facebook, wherever, for a little while now. So what you're telling me is that someone that's a boy, born a boy with a penis, he's a man when he gets to be an adult, whether he wants to accept it or not. I'm just putting the truth out. Can go join something that is traditionally for women and be accepted. And when, say, if he wins something, they like, oh, he's the first, she's the first woman to do this. No, it's not a woman. Like, you can't make me say that it is. And vice versa. If a woman wants to go join a union for contractors at some development corporation somewhere, and she went and applied under the pretense saying, "Oh, I'm a man." You can't get me to say that she is a man. I'm sorry. Like, no. If I know you were born with a vagina, I'm going to call you a woman for the rest of your life, and even after you're dead. This craziness has to end. We need to go back to the days of society when boys and men knew what they were, and girls and women knew what they were. This it's ridiculous. Not everything is gender inclusive. That's why some schools out here, you have all girls schools because they cater to the needs of future women, to nurture them, and for femininity. That's why we have all boys schools out here, to cultivate them in growth and development in manhood and masculinity. That's why these things exist. Not everything has to be co-ed. Not everything has to be gender exclusive. Some things need to be separated: men with men, boys with boys, women with women, girls with girls. It has to be like, it's just crazy. Like,
All right, you can calm down. Don't kill yourself.
not, I'm just saying, like, if a sport league or organization or franchise is originally just for one gender, keep it that way. Stop trying to make a political statement for something that does not need to be made a statement about, including sports. Before we know it, we're going to have women in the NFL. I do not want to see a woman play football because I know how damaging this sport is. Men can barely survive football sometime these days. It's a bludgeon. It's sport.
Just to be
CTE.
clear, because she said it, not me or Matt. So please hit up her on Facebook and Twitter.
Do
Not
we want to see women playing in the NFL? Huh?
Unfortunately, I might have to say this too. There has been a woman that has tried out to be a kicker for the New York Jets.
I know.
Unfortunately,
And we got a
unfortunately,
woman going up for a head coach position too. That's got to
un-
go too.
I'm about to stop you there. There's, I'll admit to this. There were certain if a woman wants to be is can be a good coach, just as the men can. We're all for it. However, she has to win the respect of the players that she is coaching. That's important. Now, here's the thing.
within
Now, hold
A
on.
lot
within.
of them are going to use her as a sex object.
Hold up,
Hold on.
hold
Hold
up,
on.
hold up. I just want to
Hold on.
say before Matt finishes, I just want to say within reason, earn respect within reason. Go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. Now, prime example. there is a I forgot where, but there's a woman who is coaching football, high school football, and mind you, high school football. And the way she reaches her players now, the way she reaches her players is through some maternal instinct of things. Now she does get tough with her players, but in a very different way where she can reach the players and get them to play the level they need to play. Now, albeit she does have assistant coaches that she can refer to do wherever it is that they need to do. But the thing is, it depends on the system that she sets up to make sure the team is successful. It's not the part that there are some. Now I'm gonna admit to this. There are some women that really try to be tough, and it doesn't work. We know it don't work because we can see it all the way straight out. But there are some women out there who are very good coaches and can get the job done. So I hope you're done because I'm gonna say this right now. Transgender women, transgender anyone for that matter. If you're a transgender man, you're a female. If you're a transgender female, you are a man. Now, this honestly is, if you, particularly in high school sports, child abuse. How in the world we as a society is letting our children, I don't know, choose who they think they are. Biologically, you are who you are, and you have the abilities of such. So this is bottom line child abuse, and we have documentation that says everything about it. If you are born of a man, you transgender to a woman, I'm sorry to tell you, you cannot run as a female because you have the physical caliber of a man. Even though you look, okay, look, look. Even though you look
And
like,
testosterone.
if you look like a female, you are a man because even though you may take estrogen pills, you are still a man. You will still outrun a female, out whatever with a female because you are still a man. And the same thing with flip. Now, I think they should be allowed to compete. I do think they should not be. I think more research needs to be done about this because we just we as a society don't know how to handle it very well. But there are some underlying factors that's going on right now that we as a society either missing, ignoring, or the like. So therefore, what I'm saying is, if you're born a male, you compete as a male. We all know you, man. We all know you're a guy, so you cannot break those female records because you're still a guy. It's like it's like Caitlyn Jenner trying to run as a female in the Olympics and she's smashing records. Oh, no, she's Bruce Jenner. I like how you slice it. Bruce, there's something going on, and I think more research is needed to make sure people don't make permanent mistakes. That's where it is.
All right, my turn. This is particularly sensitive to me because I actually had a person who was a girl, then decided to, no names mentioned, just, she decided to go ahead and have the surgery and become a boy. And I couldn't talk her out of it because at that point, she decided that she wanted to be better off to be a boy. So this is personal to me, and I don't want nobody to think that, I'm not sensitive to the issue. But what I want to say is this, right? I think that I'm not saying that transgender people can't compete in the sports, right? But what I feel is this. I feel like our schools, a lot of these schools, and a lot of them are suburban private schools, right? They have done a disservice, and some public schools as well have done a disservice to this because instead of just having a hardcore, easy to stick to rule, This is at Colin W. Watson. If you feel like you want to debate me, I think it like this. I think that I live by the philosophy of Jay-Z. You are who you are, player. So if you came out of your mother's womb and you were a girl, you're a girl. If you came out of your mother's womb and you're a boy, you're a boy. Now, whatever you identify as, you know what? You can identify as it, but I don't think, even though I personally think identifying as whatever is wrong, whatever, but, it's not about me. But, personally, I'm not going to, what I think that these schools have taken the easy way out and they basically say, oh, you identify as that, all right, you can compete. Here's what I'll say about that, right? I think that if you want to compete as the opposite gender, you must have the surgery first. Even though, like I said, you should be who you are. We shouldn't really have transgenderness. We do. And I agree with Matt. Like, more research needs to be done into why that is, why people come out like that. Maybe it's something in brain physiology and all that stuff. We will see. More research needs to be done on that. I agree on that. But I think as far as something easy, I think that all schools need to have this thing written down that if you want to compete as a girl and you're a male, you must have the surgery first. Doesn't matter if your parents can't afford the surgery. Then if you can't, because this is easy, right? It's not violating anybody's constitutional rights. It's just something easy to do for me. Now, maybe I'll get Courtney in here on one of these podcasts to explain this and see if this meets the legal requirement or whatever. This violates anybody's legal rights. But for me, this is what I would say. I would say that in order for you to compete, a girl who identifies as a male, in order for you to compete with the guys, boy who identifies as a girl, in order for you to keep it as a girl, because I think in the fairness of the game, I don't think if you're a boy just because you identify as a girl that you should be able to do what you want. I think that you got to take that step. If you're going to do it, go all the way, commit to it. Because I feel like there are some kids that take advantage of that. Not saying all of them, because like I said, I had a friend who was going through some self-esteem stuff. It was a little bit too much for her, and then she decided to become a boy. So I am sensitive to that, right? And out of respect for this person, I'm not gonna mention any names. Gonna respect that. No names mentioned. But that's how I feel. I feel like you should take the next step. This way, you can actually, if you're gonna do it, go all the way. I'm from Philly. I agree that if you're going to do it, you might as well go all the way. I don't think that you should. That it's just like for example, this. If I say, or I all of a sudden identify as a girl, and I walk into the female restroom, I'm probably gonna get a lawsuit. Probably gonna get arrested. Probably gonna be a lot of people saying, "Oh," and I probably won't be able to say, "Yo, I identify as a girl, so I decided to go use the women's restroom." It's probably not gonna fly. So if it doesn't fly illegally, if it doesn't fly in any other thing, I don't understand why schools are now saying, "Oh, you know what? Little Jimmy identifies as a girl, so he should be able to play as a girl." No, because if little Jimmy goes out and commits a robbery, he can't say, "Yo, I felt like a girl." Like, legally, they're going to be like, you're still going to male jail. Like, you're still going to co-ed jail, whatever. So I don't understand why schools think that they can get out of this. Because really, all you're doing is doing damage, because those athletes, this hasn't gotten to college yet, but eventually it will. Those athletes, I think Amina agrees, those men who identify as girls can't go play on the women's college basketball team when they get to college, if they get to college. Those men who identify as girls that are grown, that are like me or her age, they can't all of a sudden enter the draft for the WNBA. So if it's only in the lower level, elementary, middle, and high schools, but it's not in college, the NBA, the NFL, no. You should have to go and take the next step before you are allowed to compete. because it takes away and it dilutes the fairness of the game. And this is what Matt was getting at too. It dilutes the fairness of everything that our society is built on. We teach our girls and our boys that, you know, if you compete, y'all talk about, a lot of y'all talk about, because I talked to some of y'all, a lot of y'all talk about how you think everybody's a snowflake. You know, millennials get handed everything. Everybody gets a ribbon. But now you want to talk about, oh, just because I identify as somebody, I should go be able to play women's basketball. But I have the physiology of a man, and I haven't taken the steps to become a woman. I don't understand. I really don't. It dilutes the fairness of the game to me. And I'm just specifically talking about this from a sports perspective because we're talking about transgender athletes competing in sports. We're not talking about the whole, you know, I'm not trying to do the society stuff, even though I can. I think society's going down. I think that we're doing a little too much. I think that we're diluting stuff that shouldn't be diluted. That's what I'll say. But as far as the sports stuff, at Kyler W. Watson, for me, probably for Amina and probably for Matt, you should have to take the next step before you're allowed to compete with the opposite gender, opposite sex. I don't really care about your orientation. I feel like these schools are copping out. They should take the next step and say, all right, little Jimmy, all right, little Susie, if you want all that, take the next step. Go ahead, get your parents to pay for the surgery. And then once that happens and you can proof of surgery, proof of concept, go right ahead. You know, I think that's easy. You know, but maybe I'm in the minority, and Amina can jump back in here with a final thought, and I'll end it, and then we'll get out of here. Amina, you got anything else to say?
Yeah, I just find it crazy. Society we live in. I mean, I remember when we were growing up in the 90s and 2000s where this was not going on. And if it were going on back then and we heard about it, our parents would take us out of whatever or camp, extracurricular activity, sport program we were in because of it. Parents did not tolerate this BS up until when we were growing up. But this mumbler participation trophy, ultra sensitive cupcake, whatever cupcake generation that I would say are all, you know, under 23 years old, they're all weaklings. And I don't know, like, where was the breakdown? Because this was not going on when we were in school. You girls knew that they were girls. You were born with a vagina. You're gonna die with one. You're gonna be a woman when you become an adult. Same with the boys. You're born with a penis. You knew you were a boy up until you became an adult and you were a man. And you died a man. I, I don't understand what's the issue. I'm a woman. I was born a girl baby. Like it's on the long birth certificate form with the state. It says that I'm a female. Why would I go around claiming that I'm a dude? I don't want to be a dude. Sure, I love sports, but I don't want to be a man. I got enough on my plate being a woman. Be what you were born as. Anything else is a choice. You're not born that way. You choose to be that way. So outside of that, whatever Kylan has to say, you can say it. Other than that, we got it.
This last thing, you know, like I said, the opinions of the individual, not the opinion of the podcast as a whole, and the related entities. But like schools for me have diluted this concept. Like for me, you are what you were born as, and if you want to compete in that opposite sex sports, whether I think it's wrong or right, whatever. If you want to if you want to compete with the gender, sex, whatever that you identify as. I know that's triggering some of y'all now because a lot of y'all say there's no gender. My baby's going to be born genderless. You go right ahead with your crazy self. And you know, I feel like you should have to take the next step. This is what I will say. You take the next step. So if you're going to do all that, get your parents, get your guardian, whoever, to pay for the surgery. And if you can't do that, so if you're brave enough to say, yo, I'm a boy in school, but when you go home, your dad or your mom tell you, yo, you are what you are, player, or whatever, you are what you were born as, and I won't accept it, then you can't compete as a girl. Doesn't matter what you identify as. You can't compete as a boy. Doesn't matter what you identify as. You know? This is what, like I said, schools have made this a cop out. They need to take the next step. And I don't think you're violating anybody's rights. Like I said, I will talk to Courtney or some of the other lawyers I know and see if I'm right, or if I'm unwittingly violating somebody's constitutional rights by saying you have to take the next step before I allow you to compete as a boy because you're a girl, or as a man, or as a boy trying to compete in a girl's sports. I just think that dilutes the fairness of the game. But that's just me. All right, we out. Thank you all for tuning in later. Thank you all for working with us through our technical difficulties. Deuces, we're out. See y'all later. Thank Matt, thank Amina, thank Dre, thank Trey as well. Hope y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy it. Stay hydrated. Deuces.